Greetings, everyone. Sunday morning and coming to listen to the Dhamma is very good because you gain some strength to fight against the defilements for many days. Dhamma is serene. The world is scorching. We're training ourselves to practice in order our mind to become serene and happy. The world outside cannot be fixed because it's chaotic as it is. We come to train our mind to be with the world without become scorching like the world. Dhamma is serene. What a pity that most Buddhists are not interested in Dhamma practice. They never taste the Dhamma and didn't know, and they don't know how wonderful the Dhamma is. A lot of people come to visit temples in order to pay homage to statues and trees that are irrelevant to Buddhism at all. Only a few come to the monastery that teaches Dhamma. Most people come to visit Dhamma to do different things. That depend on, people's spiritual faculties. Most people have weak spiritual faculties. That's why they want to depend on things that worldly people do. Like they do this on the purpose of getting rich or getting some benefits out of it. They aim for those things. Actually, it has some benefits. But the most important benefits that Buddhism can yield, can offer, are not interested by a lot of people. Therefore, we have to take action to train and learn Dhamma. Take it seriously. We don't play it because we have limited time and time pass by every day. Masters has been fading away. 40 years, 50 years ago, in the time when I was searching for masters and learning Dhamma, there's a lot of masters back then. Especially in the northeastern part of Thailand, there are a lot of masters, good masters. Even just one route, you can come to visit many temples with good masters. But nowadays, in the same route, master that used to be there, they used to be there. No, the master no longer there anymore. That's why back then I like holidays. I like to go to Isan, northeastern part of Thailand, or in the northern part of Thailand, to Chiang Mai or Chiang Rai to visit masters. But most of the time I went to Isan because there are a lot of masters. Whenever I visit there, I was very happy to having dinner, having lunch, breakfast in the temples and train myself in that temples. Eating local foods like vegetables with the chili sauce. I'm not really accustomed to those kind of tradition eating culture, but because I live in, I'm a city dweller. But sometimes there are some dwellings provided, but sometimes they don't provide dwellings. That's why I sometimes had to lying down under the tree. There's at night there are the dark sky and the animals around it, the different sounds of the animals. It's very peaceful environment. Keep training myself to be able to live humbly. And most of the time I spend on cultivating mindfulness. When the times come, I do sitting and walking meditation and chanting as well. For the rest of the time, I try to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. To do that, to cultivate cultivating mindfulness in daily life is very important. That's why Master Luangpu Man, which I didn't live in the same era as Luangpu Man, but a lot of disciples of Luangpu Man used to tell me that he taught doing a lot of samadhi can slow your progress. Thinking a lot, you'll make your mind scattered. The heart of the Dhamma practice is cultivating mindfulness in daily life.
หัวใจอยู่ตรงนี้เก่งเฉพาะตอนนั่งสมาธิตอนเดินจงกรมไม่ได้กินหรอกวันหนึ่งจะนั่งเท่าไหร่
How many hours you can sit or walk in meditation? But if you cannot cultivate mindfulness in daily life, there will be slim chance for you to get the attainment. While practicing, I do a lot of cultivating mindfulness. Sometimes I don't want to do meditation because I thought it waste of time. But for some time it goes by, the samadhi isn't enough, and I couldn't cultivate wisdom. That's why samadhi is very important as well. But most of the time I do mindfulness cultivation in daily life because Master Luangpu Dun taught me to observe my mind. To cultivate mindfulness in daily life and observing the mind coalesce, combine together. We can practice in daily life. Whenever we see forms, when I see form, whenever any feelings, strange happen, takes place within our mind. When our eyes see, for example, a beautiful flowers, the mind likes it. There is a change within our heart. So we have the mindfulness to recognize that change. When our ears hear sound, and there's a change within our mind, when the sounds takes place. For example, people scolding us, blaming us, and our mind give rise to aversion. We have the mindfulness to recognize that. When the nose smells good odor, and the mind likes it, the heart likes it, or sometimes the heart very confused what kind of flower it is. Whenever there are curiosity arises, we don't see the flower. We observe our heart that our minds give rise to curiosity. We see that curiosity arises and fall away. Sometimes we smell this odor and it's not very good. The mind becomes irritated. Know the irritations. That's how you cultivate mindfulness in daily life. The simple principle is that you can let the six sense doors make contact with the world as naturally as it is. We don't forbid it to happen. Whatever the mind thinks, we cannot forbid it to happen because the mind is anatta or non-self. Sometimes you want to think of good things, but sometimes you think of bad things like defilements and cravings. But whenever the mind thinks negatively, the wholesomeness will take place. The mind will gain some burden, gain some weight, and become compressed and tight. We have to have the mindfulness to recognize that the mind now is melancholy, the mind is bad. But whenever the mind develops wholesomeness, we have to recognize that as well. For example, whenever we see the masters and the mind produce some raptures and pity, instead of only observing the master, we should observe that our minds develop some pity or raptures. Or listening to Dhamma, the mind gains some happiness. Do not just keep on listening on and on. Know that your mind develops some happiness. That's how we cultivate. That's how we train ourselves. And it's very important. A lot of people ignore this part, and they are not interested in practice differently, and they ignore cultivating mindfulness in daily life. Even though Master Luangpu Man said that this is the heart of the Dhamma practice, which is to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. If we want to have the mindfulness in daily life, we have to train ourselves to observe our heart. Whenever the eyes see forms and any change within our hearts, like giving rise to happiness and wholesomeness, we have to have the mindfulness to recognize those phenomena. For example, seeing beautiful women, the mind develops greed, knows so. We don't have to act indifferent or try to compress the mind till there is no feelings at all. That's not how you cultivate the mindfulness in daily life, but that's over-focusing. You're over-focusing in daily life, and the mind will become stiff and tight, like this monk. Your mind is tight and stiff. You are over-focusing. So we have to train to observe our feelings. Whenever the eye sees forms, if the happiness and wholesomeness arises, be mindful. When the ear hears sound, nose smells, the body feels, the mind thinks. Whenever wholesomeness and happiness arises, be mindful. It all happens within your heart. And when you think, and it gives rise to happiness and wholesomeness, be mindful. It's not difficult, but most people ignore it. For example, if a car cut in front of you, and for those who not practice it, who doesn't practice, for those who don't practice, they would see who is that. But for Dhamma practitioners, we see the version giving rise to within our heart. When people cut in front of your car and you are sending the mind out to sea and give rise to aversion, that's a malevolent thought that arising. So to practice Dhamma is actually not very difficult, because we don't try to suppress ourselves. What the mind is like, we know so. Know it as really is. It's not difficult at all. But it's not as simple as you think it as well, because we not familiarize ourselves with observing our heart. It's difficult because we don't have this habit to know, to observe. To observe the mind will no longer be difficult if you have this habit. I don't practice a lot. I don't really train different methods. But when I was young, I only get the calmness samadhi and send the mind out to see different things, and there is no substantial to it. But once I met Master Luangpu Dun, he taught me to observe my mind. I try to observe my mind. I don't focus on the mind or guarding the mind to see whatever arising. I try to look at it. That's not right. That's incorrect. Whenever you have intention to guarding the mind will become tight and stiff, that nothing resurfacing. Therefore, you shouldn't try to look at it beforehand. You let the feelings arises and then knows that feeling arises already. Do not try to wait for the phenomena to arise. Otherwise, it will become still and nothing there. That's when you're controlling your mind, not observing your mind. We have to train. If you can observe your heart proficiently enough, then you'll know that Dhamma practice is no longer difficult, because you got the most important aspects of the Dhamma practice, which is your mind, your heart. To practice Dhamma is actually to train our heart, not the body. For example, walking meditation, some people want to train your body to walk in a particular manner. Actually, that's not right. We don't try to train the body to walk in a beautiful manner. Actually, you can walk any manner as in daily life you walk. But the heart of Dhamma practice is that your mind. Master Luangpu taught that whenever you get the mind, you get the Dhamma. If you don't get the heart, you don't get the Dhamma. That's why. Because the Dhamma arises from within the heart. What are the Dhamma there? The first thing is unwholesomeness. Do you know? Unwholesomeness arises from the body, the hands, the feet? No. It arises from the heart. What about wholesomeness? It doesn't arise from the hands or the abdomen or the breath. It actually arises within the heart. What about the attainment, fruition? The fruition doesn't arise from the mountains or rivers or the body, actually within the mind. If you keep observing the mind and having the mindfulness to guard the mind and take care of the mind, whatever the mind it is, just knows it as it really is, then you will be able to see that all kinds of feelings change all the time, constantly. Whenever the eye see form, the mind changes. When the ear hears sound, the tongue tastes, the body feels, the mind thinks, feeling change. Keep on observing like this. It doesn't have to be good or bad. One master said that whether good or bad, they are all evil. This evil or apiya in Pali is something that you shouldn't take guard. You shouldn't belong to you. It doesn't worth belonging to you. It's something that you shouldn't take it or take possession of it. That's in the level of wisdom cultivation. But in the morality, good and bad are not equal. But in wisdom cultivation, we don't practice Dhamma for the purpose of having good things, because good things isn't permanent, or happiness, or peacefulness. They are all impermanent. We train ourselves, we practice Dhamma in order to see the truth that the mind changes all the time. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's wholesome, sometimes unwholesomeness. They're all subjected to the three characteristics. While observing the mind or heart, there are the three characteristics that happens across these phenomena. It's actually the common factors of all the phenomena, all the conditioned formation, both abstract and physical parts, which can be categorized into three things. First, in impermanence, it used to be and not there anymore, or is suffering. The second is suffering. For example, happiness arises and is suppressed to break apart. A lot of people, when you see me and you talk to me, and the rapture arises, and that rapture, whenever you observe it, you'll see that the rapture is suppressed to go away. It starts to fade away and then fall away. And it's also non-self as well, or anatta. Whether the mind is happy, wholesome, and unwholesome, you cannot choose it. You cannot take control of it. That's the truth. It's the common factors amongst the conditioned formations, which is the abstract and physical parts that are all subject to the three characteristics. There are only one thing that beyond the three characteristics, which is the Nibbana. Nibbana has no birth. If it wasn't born, then they won't fade away. They don't fall away. It won't fall away. Whether the things is physical or mental parts, they are all arise and fall away. So we have to have the mindfulness to keep on observing the truth within our body and mind, and one day you'll understand that all things that arises within our perceptions stay for a while and then fall away ultimately. Keep on observing like this. I spent Master Luangpu taught me to observe my heart, my mind. I spent 7 months in order to do that, but I mistakenly observed the mind for about 3 months by trying controlling the mind to be still and don't have any thoughts at all. I actually can do it. For example, I can meditate and then the mind becomes still and empty and comfortable. And once I revisit the master Luangpu Dun again, and Luangpu Dun, what is it the mind like? And I said that the mind is marvelous. It can fabricate a lot of things, but it can control it to be still and empty. And Master Luangpu said that I told you to read the mind, not fabricating the mind.
ท่านสอนอย่างนี้นะหลวงพ่อก็เลยมาทำใหม่ก็คือมาอ่านจิตตนเองจริงๆอ่านยังไงก็อ่านอย่างที่เล่าให้ฟังนี่แหละ
We observe the mind like I told you. We just observe it as it really is in a relaxing way. For example, at this moment, a lot of people, while listening, what do you think? The mind is happy or unhappy? Can you recognize whether the mind is happy or unhappy? It's not difficult at all. Or you can observe the body. Do you know that the body is sitting? Is it difficult to observe that the body is sitting? If it's difficult, then you all become bizarre. You can go consult a psychiatrist. Dhamma is very direct and open. Whether the body is breathing in or breathing out, do you need to change the mind in order to do that? You don't have to make the mind still to be able to do that. Likewise, observing mind, you observe like when you observe it like the body. Just know it as it really is. Do you know what the mind is now is happy or unhappy? Are you confused? Some people are confused whether the mind is now happy or unhappy. A lot of people become confused. Some people are not confused but couldn't read it because they are deluded and drifting away to other places already. The mind is very subtle and delicate and very swift. We have to cultivate the tools like mindfulness to able to observe it. We shouldn't try to slow the feelings within our hearts so that the slow mindfulness can observe it. We shouldn't adjust it. We shouldn't change it. For example, some people walking meditation in a slower pace in order for the mindfulness to keep pace. But actually, the mind is already fabricating a lot of things and taking births and fall away many times. Defilement is not slow as you're walking, or you don't have to make the mindfulness or the mind to become slow and empty and slow and blank. Don't do that. Just try to be aware as they really are. When I only spent 4 months to observe the mind and I understand the mind. The mind has nature to arise and fall away and non-self. I could see the 3 characteristics of the mind. Then I submit homework to report the progress of my practice to Master Luangpu Dun. And Luangpu Dun said that you can help yourself now. You don't have to learn from anywhere else. Just learn within your heart and you can be on your own. You can depend on yourself. And another monk asked me from another temple, asked me and he heard that I submit homework to many masters and a lot of Master Luangpu compliment me a lot. And that monk, curious, and asked me that you are a lay person, but how could you practice to this level? Monk took years, 10 years, 2 decades in order to achieve what you achieve. And I answered, I practice all day long. And he's confused because you have a job, you have to do the job. How could you cultivate? How could you practice all day long? and I
เวลาเรามีหน้าที่
I actually cultivate mindfulness in daily life. Whenever I have to do the job, I pay attention to the job, the mindfulness and wisdom with the job. That's not the time for Dhamma practice. But outside the job, outside the work,
ถ้าทำงานที่ใช้ร่างกายเนี่ยปฏิบัติได้ตลอดเลย
whenever I use the body, I can practice without when I don't have to think, I can practice. And in Sulin province, even the driver of a car, they can observe the body and mind as well. Even the vendors in the markets, they can practice Dhamma. They are very bright and and the refinements are very low. How could they practice Dhamma? They don't have time to sitting or walking meditation all day long. They did this by cultivating mindfulness, to have the mindfulness to feel the body and mind on and on. Sitting and selling vegetables. When then other people comes to visit and buy vegetables, they are happy. That this woman happy. She knows that she happy. The weather is really hot, and the vegetable is very sure. Even though the vegetable is worn out, but her mind is very vitalized, very energetic. And her mind gained some possession, possession which is the noble possession if she practice when she practice like this. A lot of people are very poor in terms of wealth, but they have another kind of possession, which is the noble possession. They have they have morality, samadhi, and wisdom. But nowadays, people in the Surin province are like people in Bangkok. They are deluded in the world. I practice like this. In the evening, I do sitting meditation. I don't really walk in meditations because my house was made of wood. So whenever I walk, it makes noises and disturb other people. That's why I do sitting meditation a lot. And I train myself to observe my mind as much as possible. Before going to bed, I drink a lot of water. Why? Because when I need to pee at the middle of the night. When I pee, I drink a lot more water again. I do sitting meditation. If the mind is still dark, I won't go to sleep. If the mind is not bright and luminous, I won't go to sleep because it's still deluded with delusion. I'm very strict to Dhamma practice of myself. I keep training till the mind becomes more smart. Whenever I wake up and the mind becomes so bright, so I can go back to sleep. And then if it's bright, so I start to getting smarter than defilement. So I'm sitting meditation for longer hour. And but you have to be patient. There are there's two mistakes that people do wrong. The first is the self-mortification. The second is sensual delusion, sensual indulgence. Self-mortification is overstressing yourself, controlling your body and mind. Like this monk, he's very confused. He wants to come ask me. He wants to ask me question that he practiced for a long period of time, but why he's not progressing? Because his mind was very tight and stiff at the beginning, but now his mind was more relaxed and become more self-aware. That's how you start to practicing. But if you keep on overfocusing how many years pass by, there will be no progression.
งั้นหันอ่าน
Therefore, you have to
บ่อยๆนะ
observe your heart
แล้วเราจะได้
more
ได้ผล
often
ดี
so that you attain some good things,
ความ
which
ดี
is
ก็
the
คือธรรมะ
Dhamma.
นั่นแหละ
If you understand Dhamma, you
ไม่
won't
ตีกับใครนะ
fight against other people. You
เรา
won't
จะไม่ทะเลาะกับใคร
quarrel to
ไม่
other
เถียงกัน
people and
ไม่ทำหรอก
discuss with the Dhamma with other people, because Dhamma is
ไม่
something
ได้เรียนเอาไว้ทะเลาะกัน
not to be quarrel
เรียนเอากิเล
or
ส
fight.
เก่าๆอย่างนั้น
If you learn Dhamma and you feel that you know a lot of things and you talking Dhamma a lot,
แต่ไม่เห็นกิเลส
but you can see your own defilements, that's not good because you can't read your can't observe your own mind. It's not difficult actually. Most people ignore observing your mind, their minds.
วันนี้เทศไปเทศมา
Today I giving talks and
เนื้อหาสาระที่ควรจะบอก
all the Dhamma that I need to offer is already been done. So you have to take
สัง
action.
เกตไหมพอหลวงพ่อบอกว่าเทศเสร็จแล้ว
And see, whenever I said that I finished talking, and your mind is like, finally,
แม้มันออก
it's
ตามาก
too,
ไป
it's very obvious.
ไม่รู้จัก
It's
เกรงใจเลย เนี่ยรู้สึก
because you see that the mind is a little bit
ความ
giggles.
รู้สึกขำ
The giggling feelings arises, not just giggling and like infants, they keep on giggling and don't know themselves. That's the manner of the infants. They don't have the mindfulness and don't know anything.
อย่างที่ว่า
Like
หลวงพ่อคอยดูพระ คุยกันเสียงดัง
when I observe the
หัว
monks,
เราะอักกักนี่โดนทันทีเลยนะ
some
คุย
monks
เสียงดังเนี่ยเดี๋ยวว่างๆเรียกมาดู
talking very loud
แต่ถ้าหัวเราะอักกักเนี่ยโดนทันที
and giggles very loudly
ปฏิบัติไม่
because
ควรจะเป็นอย่างนั้น
you
ต้องมี
cannot
สติ
laugh out loud like that because you don't have the mindfulness to observe. Actually, there's a fun feeling arises within your heart. That's okay, but you shouldn't lack mindfulness. You can be happy.
มีความสุขได้ไม่
You don't have to
พุทธเจ้าบอกให้รู้ทุกข์ไม่กูต้องทุกข์
reserve to look suffering all the time like that. No. When you observe suffering, it meaning that you observe the body and mind. Happiness and happiness, these are all in the heap of suffering. Those feelings are in the heap of suffering as well, and the aggregates of suffering.
ไม่ยากหรอก
Here on observing is not difficult.
ธรรมะมันก็
Dhamma is delicate and subtle from different level. In the beginning, observe your heart wisely. Master Luangpu said, taught Dhamma in short phrases, not like me.
ถ้าหลวงพ่อ
If I imitate his style of teaching, you wouldn't be able to understand because your spiritual faculty is very low and you are lazy as well. Anybody's feeling that you're still lazy? Don't raise your
ไม่
hand.
ต้องยกนะ
Don't raise your hand. It's very obvious here. You don't have to raise your hand at all.
ถ้ายังมี
If they're still stopped from
ยังประมาทเกินไป
practicing Dhamma, you are
ขอ
too
ข
careless.
อเล่นเกม
You think that I want to play games for 1 hour. That's careless. Because while playing games,
ดีใจ
you
ชนะ
want
เกม
the game and you may shock to death.
ประมาท
That's when you're careless. So you don't have a break.
ช่องโหว่
Even just a small break
กิเลสลุยทันที
from Dhamma practice, the defilements will kick
ไม่ใช่
in
ไม่เก่ง
right away. The
ต้องฝึก
defilements are really good at this.
Luangpu Dun
Master Luangpu Dun taught very simple and short phrases. For example,
ท่านจะสอนให้จิตเรา
if he
มีสมาธิ
he
ตั้งมั่น
wanted
ท่านพูดประโยคเดียว
to teach your mind
ส่งจิตออก
to become stable, he only taught one
จิต
sentence:
ออก
do
นอก
not
จิต
send the
ออก
mind
ไป
out.
ทำ
When the
ตาม
mind is
รู้
sending
เห็น
out,
แก่ใจ
is the mind sent out through the six senses. He said that do not
แต่
send
ถ้า
the
จิต
mind
มัน
out.
ส่งไปเอง
But
ห้ามมัน
whenever
ไม่
the
ได้
mind is sending out,
แต่เราอย่าส่ง
you cannot forbid it. But you shouldn't send it out by yourself.
ละคร
Like
สัตว์นี่
for
สนุกจัง
example,
เลย
you send the mind out to see
ไป
the
ดูหมู
moving,
เด้งนะ
the
เด้
bouncy
งบ้างไม่เด้ง
pig.
บ้างส่วนใหญ่มันนอน
And
อุ
you
ตส่าห์ไปดูกัน
come
นะ
to see the bouncy pig. Even they're sleeping all
เว
the
ลาไป
time.
ดูหมูเด้งเห็นไหม
When you see the moving, your
ตายไป
mind send out to moving, and then when you die, a lot of people will become the
คน
hippo,
อื่นก็จะมาดูเราเด้งบ้างละ
and a lot of people come visit you to see you as a hippo.
อย่าส่งจิตออกน
So
อกก็คือ
do not send the mind out. Is that do not having the craving intention to search for the sensual pleasures,
รูปเสียง
which
กลิ่น
is
รส
the
โผฏฐัพพะทั้งหลาย
the sensual pleasures.
แต่ธรรมชาติ
But
ของ
the nature of the
ย่อม
mind
ส่งออกนอก
is to send
จิ
out.
ตมันโดยตัวมันชอบส่งออกนอก
The mind itself has the nature to send
ถ้าจิต
out.
ส่งออกนอก
But whenever
มีสติรู้
you
ทัน
are send the mind out, be mindful. This is very important. This is what Luangpu
ประโย
Dun
คเดียว
said.
นะแต่พอกระจาย
But when
ออกมา
you
ผมเป็นหลักการปฏิบัติ
It's only one
เยอะแยะ
sentence,
หมด
but whenever you
ถ้าจิต
expound it,
จิต
you describe the Dhamma, it can be described in many sentences,
เป็นผู้รู้
and then the mind will become stable and blissful and noble
ได้
one.
จิตที่ตั้งมั่น
I have this noble mind since I was 10 years old. When I went to visit Master Luangpu Dun, he never taught me to send the mind out. He
ต่อยอดให้เลย
further my practice by saying that
จงทำญาณเห็นจิตให้เหมือนตาเห็นรูปเวลาตาเราเห็นรูปเราจงใจเห็นไหม
you should have the wisdom to
หลับตา
see
ทุกคนหลับ
the
ตา
the image
แล้วลองหันหน้าไปให้มันเปลี่ยนทิศทาง
image as
แล้วลืมตาเราเจตนาเห็น
for example now can you close your eyes and then open
จงทำ
the
ญาณเห็นจิต
mind
ให้เหมือนตาเห็นรูป
open the eyes
ไม่ได้เจตนา
could you see
มีรูปยังไง
and
ก็
the
เห็น
image whenever you see that image you for example you move your head and you found beautiful women or see the tiger
วิ่งเข้ามาอะไรเงี้ย
just know
ก็รู้ทัน
like
เหมือนตาเห็นรูป
the eye see forms
เราเลือกได้ไหมว่า
you
จะเห็น
can't
รูปอะไร
see
เรา
the
เลือกไม่ได้
image or
นะ
forms that you see
ตาจะเห็นรูป
whether
ที่ดีหรือ
the
รูป
eye
ที่
see
ไม่ดี
good or
ที่
bad
ชอบใจ
images
หรือไม่ชอบ
you
ใจ
cannot
เรา
choose
เลือกไม่ได้
to observe the mind
จงทำญาณเห็นจิตให้เหมือนตาเห็
use
นรูป
the wisdom to see the image as the eye see form we don't choose the image
ตาก็ไม่เลือก
we
อารม
don't
ณ์ของ
see
ตา
we don't choose
มี
we
รูป
don't
อะไร
get to
ก็เห็น
choose
ไป
the
อย่างนั้น
objects to
จิ
see
ตนี่เราก็
or
ไม่เลือก
to
อารมณ์
perceive likewise the mind cannot didn't get to choose the
เนี่ย
optics
ความรู้
to perceive
อย่างที่มันมีอย่าง
just
ที่มัน
know
เป็นไป
just know and observe as
มีญาณ
they really are
ญาณแปลว่าความอย่างรู้นะเป็นลักษณะ
jhana
ของปัญญา
is wisdom
และไม่ใช่รู้
we don't
โง่ๆนะ
we know not like just know like this we don't know in a blank way we know with wisdom
ปัญญานะมีใจที่
with
ตั้ง
stable
มั่น
mind
ปัญญา
so that the wisdom can arise
ผ่านบทเรียนที่ชื่อว่าอย่าส่งจิตออกนอก
we pass the lesson of don't send the mind out once the mind becomes stable
มันถึง
so
จะ
that
มี
we
ญาณ
can gain the wisdom to see the
ญาณเป็นปัญญา
mind
ปัญญามีสัมมาสมาธิ
Yan or
เป็นความ
wisdom
ตั้งมั่น
has
เป็น
the
เหตุ
proximate
ใกล้
cause of the
อย่างที่หลวงพ่อ
right
จำ
samadhi
จำชัย
that's
ว่า
why I have to
จิตต้องตั้ง
pay a
มั่น
lot of
จิตต้อง
attention
ดู
into
ฐานะ
the right
มันจะไม่
samadhi
เป็น
the
ปัญญา
mind needs to be stable and on the base that what that so that you can cultivate wisdom
หมายถึงว่า
So
มีอารมณ์
you have
อะไร
to
เกิดขึ้นก็สักว่ารู้ว่าเห็น
have the wisdom
รู้
to
เห็นอย่างที่
see
มันมีอย่างที่มันเป็น
the objects
แล้วไม่ได้
like the eye see
รู้
forms
แบบมีปัญญาอันแรกเลยมีสติ
First of
รู้ว่า
all
มีอารมณ์
you have to be
อะไร
aware
เกิด
of
ขึ้นกับจิต
whatever
เช่น
objects
ความสุข
arises
ความทุกข์
within
กุศล
your
อกุศล
heart
เกิดขึ้นกับจิต
no so
รู้ทัน
for example wholesomeness
อั
and
นที่สอง
wholesomeness
มีปัญญา
no so
ซ้ำลงไป
the second
ไอ้ทุกสิ่ง
have
ทุ
the
กอย่าง
another
ที่จิต
wisdom
ไป
to
รู้
see
เข้า
that
เนี่ย
all
แต่ตก
kind of
อยู่
things
ภาย
that
ใน
the mind knows are subjected to the
ความ
three
สุขก็
characteristics
ไม่เที่ยงความทุกข์
happiness
ก็
and
ไม่เที่ยง
happiness
กุศลอกุศลก็ไม่เที่ยง
wholesomeness and wholesomeness happiness and happiness
คำว่า
they are
จง
all
ทำญาณเห็น
impermanent
จิตให้เหมือนตาเห็นรูปอะคืออย่างนี้
you have the
ไม่ใช่
wisdom
นั่
to
ง
see
จ้อง
the objects like the eye see forms
มันไปนั่ง
it
จ้อง
is
อยู่
like
ที่จิต
this
มัน
do
ไม่
not
ใช่นะ
just focus on the
มันก็
mind
คล้ายๆเรา
it's like when
เข้าห้อง
you
ปิดประตูนะ
in the
จุดเทียนไว้อันหนึ่งแล้วก็
in the
มอง
room
ที่เทียน
and you
ไม่มอง
only
อื่นเลยนะ
stare at
ตาก็ต้องเห็นแต่เทียนนี่แหละ
the
เห็นอย่างอื่น
candles
ไม่ได้ไม่ใช่
it's not like that
มีตาก็เห็นอย่างที่
you have
จะ
the
ต้องเห็น
eyes you can see
จิต
anything
ของเรา
as
จะ
it
มีความ
is
รู้สึกอะไร
whenever
เกิดขึ้น
the feeling arises within
อย่า
your
งที่มัน
heart
มี
just
อย่าง
let
ที่
it
มันเป็น
let it be
แล้วเราก็ตามเห็นไปเฮ้ย
and
ตอนนี้จิตสุข
and
ตอนนี้
trying to
จิตสุข
observe it that now the mind is
ตอนนี้จิต
happy and happy
ตาม
wholesome or unwholesome keep on observing on and on till you understand that whatever arises, it arises naturally and it all falls away. Why I say anything that arises? Why don't I say happiness and happiness good or bad? Because it actually everything that arises, they all need to fall away. So I don't say that suffering arises and fall away, greed, delusion, aversion arises and fall away. I don't say that because first of all, you might able to see like this that these things arise and fall away. Each phenomena arises and fall away. But whenever your wisdom is fully cultivated, it's comprehend that the wisdom in noble paths concluded that anything that arises, it falls away. That's when you understand the Dhamma and gain the stream enterer. Then you keep on practicing like what you do. But the morality is fully, the samadhi will become stronger. And keep on cultivating wisdom. For the stream enter, the morality is fulfilled, but is full, but the samadhi is slim. It isn't like the stream enters has samadhi like other people in the world. And the wisdom is very slim. He only see three characteristics from time to time. For this once returner, his samadhi is medium, but and the wisdom is still slim. The samadhi has more stable, has more stability. He doesn't become restless from many hours. He only restless short period of time, very short time. In a nick of time, he can become. For non-returners, he can let go of the body, and he let go of the six senses and six sensual objects. The things that make our minds restless is the sensual pleasures. Whenever you can let go of the six senses, you can let go of the six sensual objects as well. The pleasures and unpleasant feelings towards different objects are none. The mind wouldn't send out to the six senses. That makes their minds have the fully samadhi. The minds become dominant and stable. The mind didn't send out to observe the sensual pleasures. And that wisdom is medium. The non-returners has the medium level of wisdom. You can see that all forms, all bodies are full of suffering, nothing else. There's only full of suffering. But why this wisdom is not ultimate? Because non-returners still has one wrong view, that once the mind is fully trained, the mind will be happy. They're striving for the happiness in meditation. They're still attached to the formless and form greed. Whenever they have the wisdom, and you could see that actually the mind is the suffering. And if you could see that the suffering, then that will be the end of the samsara cycle. He will understand thoroughly the dependent origination and cleanse the ignorance. What is the ignorance? They ignore. You don't know the suffering. They cannot. You don't know the cause of suffering. They cannot cultivate they cannot realize the cessation of suffering. The body is very easy to observe that it is the suffering. However, the mind is very difficult to observe as suffering. Even the mind that is in the meditative states that very difficult to understand that is suffering. Before up to this point, you have to fight. First, do what I said. First of all, hold 5 precepts and do form meditation so that your mind gains some strength. But the heart of Dhamma practice is to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. If you can do like this, then you won't be you won't be far from the attainment. If you're only good at doing sitting meditation in the room, then it's still far from the fruition. What today's talk is the essence of the Dhamma practice. Like Master Luangpu said, if you doing samadhi, it will make it slow. But if you cultivate wisdom a lot, then it will become scattered. The heart of Dhamma practice is to cultivate mindfulness in daily life. So can I have some time to break? This year, I felt a lot older. Back then, when I taught many friends when I was a lay person, I taught until morning, another day. Back then, I taught 7 days and then 4 days and half day. Now, only 2 days. A lot of people comes to the temple, but someday I need to take a break. Who first? Number 1, you're off-gassing. I practice in form meditations by walking in the morning and evening. In daily life, I observe the body moving. I'm not sure whether my mind is stable and ready to cultivate wisdom or not. Luangpu said that now you're controlling the mind. Can you feel that you're controlling the mind at the moment? Can you walk up front here for me to see? Imagine that this path is a catwalk. Do not let the master down, because your master is very good at walking meditation. That's good. It's good that you have the mindfulness. If you lack mindfulness, then it's useless. You're a little bit stiff because your summit hurting over. Can you see that you're sending mind out? Can you see that? You see that the mind is off base? Can you breathe? Do not interfere with the mind. Breathe as naturally as it is and see the body breathing. Now you're drifting away to think of other things. Just keep breathing, and with natural minds, when the mind drift away, and also keep breathing. It isn't on the base yet. Good. It starts to come in. Can you feel that it's different? Number 2, the mind needs to be stable like this. If the mind becomes empty and outside and still, that's not working. Just take lesson on residing there. Number 2, I practice in formal meditation, about 1.5 hour walking meditation. And in daily life, I like to observe the body movements. I'm drifting away for a long period of time. Sometimes there are wavering bits in the middle of my chest. Is it rising and falling away? Master Luangpu said that correct. It's that wavering bit happens on its own. We don't command it to happen. Good. continue practicing. Number 3,
เบอร์สาม
I practice informal meditations by sitting for about 30 or 1 hour a day.
ในชีวิตประจำวัน
In daily life, when I move, I be aware of it. I see the body breathing and breathing out, though as a home base. I like to transcend the suffering and hurry, the craving a lot, and forget about everything, and the mind thinks that cannot endure anymore. And the mind can let go a little for a period of time, but then it take back again. Paul said that you do what you do. Master already taught you well. But now the mind sent out. Could you see that? And the mind is not on the base yet. Could you see that? How? How could you make the mind on the base? You can't do that. Because the mind is non-self. Whenever you could see that the mind is sending out, it will come back to the base on its own. And in fact, if you be aware of the phenomena as they really are in the present, the mind will be on the base on its own. For example, if the mind drifting away to think about the things and you know so, the mind will be on the base on its own right away. Because whenever you have the right mindfulness to be aware of the body and mind, it will give rise to the right samadhi. The mind will become stable. Now it isn't correct because it's tight. Good, very good. It doesn't tainted your master reputation. Number 4 is very precious because don't want to taint the reputation of the masters. You don't have to be afraid. You're very good. Number 4, for meditation, I walking for about 30-45 minutes and chanting as well. In daily life, I try to observe the body movements and the mind working and chanting Buddha or observe the body breathing. Master Luangpu said that I should Buddha as an object meditation. I'm not sure whether how to make my cultivation of mindfulness in daily life better. If you don't like, Luangpu said that if you don't like Putto, you can use other object meditation. Master told me to Buddha, that's why I sometimes pass on to my student to knowing Buddhas. Actually, any object meditation is fine. If you be with one object of meditation for a period of time, then the mind will give rise to peace. Actually, your practice is good, very good actually. Good. So I think this one is very like a dark horse. But he hidden in number 4. For another person, if you are craving to be good, and this will slow your progress because it makes your mind unnatural. Number 5. Wait a second. Number 7. You don't have to act like that because you're already good. Do not try to struggle and breathing breathless like that. It's already good. Actually, everyone here is good. All the 4 number left is very good. You don't have to worry. Number 5. I practice informal meditations by walking and sitting meditation about 1 or 2 hours a day before going to sleep and in the morning. I use the body as an object meditation. In daily life, I like to observe the mind and body that change. I like to control and interfere with the phenomena. I see that there's nothing in the world to attach, but it can escape it. Luangpu said that what you practice is good. Do more. When you see that the world is nothing to attach, actually that's not true. Because your mind still attached to it, there's craving to yearn for it. You keep on learning till you see the true suffering of the world, and you see that there is no substance to it. The world is only deluded to people who are deluded. Good. But now your mind is setting out. Number 6. I practice informal meditations by sitting meditation for about an hour a day with the mind with the with the mind, with the
ใน
breath.
ชีวิตประจำวันอยู่
In
กับลม
daily
หาย
life,
ใจ
I like
เข้า
to
อ
be
อก
with the
มี
breath
ส
as
ติ
well,
เว
and
ลา
I have the
นั่งยืน
mindfulness
เดิ
in
น
different
สังเกต
postures.
ตัวเองได้
And
ว่า
I like to,
ชอบความสงบ
I see that
หลัง
I
ๆเว
like
ลาเข้าส
that
มาธิใจ
the
ไม่อยากออก
peace
จากความสงบ
and calmness.
มีราคะ
My mind
มี
doesn't
เมต
like
ตา
to get
มี
away
จิต
from
ฟุ้
the
งซ่าน
calmness.
มาเจือปนตลอดเวลา
Sometimes they are
แต่บังคับ
greed
ไม่
and
ได้
restlessness
เพียงแต่แบบ
meddle
รับรู้
with
ไป
the samadhi.
แต่ละตัว
I don't-
ที่กล่าวมา
I cannot
กลับไป
control it.
บังคับไม่ได้ รู้สึกว่าสมาธิมี
I
คุณ
think the
ภาพ
quality of my
เนื่องจาก
samadhi
มัน
is
สงบ
better
โดยที่
because
ใจ
it
ไม่ได้บัง
becomes
คับ
calm
แบบ
without
นี้
having to
ถูกหรือ
control
ไม่
it.
ครับ
The samadhi is good, but you need to
เจริญ
cultivate
ปัญญา
wisdom as well.
สมาธิเอาไว้เจริญปัญญา
Samadhi
ไม่เอาไว้นอนเล่น
is
นะ
developed in order to cultivate wisdom. If the mind
ให้รู้
likes
ลง
the
ไปตรง
samadhi,
ๆเลยว่าใจเราชอบ
know
สมา
so,
ธิ
know it directly.
ดูเข้าไปนะแล้วเวลาเดินปัญญามันไม่สงบ
You see,
เหมือน
when
ตอนทำสมาธิ
cultivating
หรอก
wisdom is not as
เว
calm
ลา
as
ที่
doing
มันเจริญ
samadhi.
ปัญญานะ
While
มันจิต
the
มันจะ
mind
ทำงาน
cultivating
ขึ้นมา
wisdom, the
คล้ายๆ
mind
ฟุ้งซ่าน
will work as
ให้
like
มีสติ
scatterness,
กำกับ
but
อยู่
you have the mindfulness.
นี่คนที่
For the
ติดสมา
peop-
ธิ
for people
พอใจใน
who
ความสงบจะไม่ยอม
satisfied
เดิน
with
ปัญ
the
ญา
calmness, they won't
ก็ส
make
รุป
progress
นะ
by cultivating wisdom. They lose some
อยาก
chances.
ได้
Like they want good things, but
มากๆเลยเราไปได้
they
ของระ
they,
ดับรอง
they
แล้ว
want
เรา
best
พอใจ
thing, but
นะ
they only get good thing, and they're satisfied with that.
Samadhi
Can
ให้
you
หลวงพ่อดูสิ
do samadhi for me?
ตรง
Could you
นี้
see
สังเก
that?
ตเห็นไหม
The
จิต
mind
เรา
now
เคลื่อนไป
move
อยู่ที่
away
อารมณ์กรรม
to the
ฐาน
object of meditation. Could you see
มอง
that?
ออกไหม
Know
รู้
this
ทันตัว
one.
นี้นะ
And then you
แล้วเรา
cultivate
เดิน
the
ปัญญาใน
wisdom
สมาธิ
in
ได้
the samadhi.
ชอบสมาธิก็เดิน
If you
ปัญญา
like
ใน
samadhi, you
ส
can
มาธิ
cultivate
ใคร
this
จะมาทำไม
wisdom inside the samadhi.
ทำไมซิ
Can you start again? Do not have a lot of
ตั้งใจแรง
intention like
ตั้งใจ
it.
แรงไป
More
ผ่อนคลาย
relaxed.
กว่านี้
You have too much intention.
ธรรมดา
Be
ธรรมดา
natural and normal.
อ่ะถอยออก
Get
มา
get back.
Mình mới
It's
đã
not
làm
like
cái ý
in
sự
the
mà-
beginning.
เวลา
When the mind
ที่จิตมัน
cultivate
เดินปัญญา
wisdom,
มั
the
นไม่
mind
ส
is
งบ
not
เฉยๆหรอกนะ เมื่อกี้เนี่ยจิตมัน
indifferent.
หลวงพ่อกระตุ้นให้มันเดิน
I
ปัญญา
activate the mind,
ที่มันไหลไปที่อารมณ์กร
your
รม
mind
ฐานพอเรารู้
to
ทัน
cultivate
ใช่ไหม
wisdom. The
จิต
mind
มันตั้ง
becomes
มั่น
stable.
คราวนี้มัน
When
จะออกไปคอยรู้แล้วมันก็เล
The
ยสาย
mind
ไป
want
สายมา
to
อยู่
see different things. If the
ถ้า
mind
มัน
wavering
สาย
like
ๆอย่าง
this,
นี้นะกลับมาทำค
you
วาม
can
สง
come
บ
back
เหมือนเดิ
to
ม
do the calmness samadhi
ให้สงบ
to
แน่วแน่
become
ลงไป
calm and stable again,
แล้วคลาย
and then
ออก
relax it
แล้ว
and
ดูการ
observe
ทำงาน
the
ของจิต
working
ใจ
of the
ไป
mind.
เห็น
You
ไหม
see
จิต
that
เราไหลไปอ
the
ยู่ที่อารมณ์
mind
กรรมฐาน
flowing towards the
ให้
object
รู้
of
ทัน
meditation.
ตอนนี้จิตไหลไปอยู่
Now
ใน
your
ความคิด
mind
รู้สึกไหม
drift away to the world of
รู้ทัน
thought.
อย่างนี้
No,
นะ
so no like this.
เพราะฉะนั้นอยู่
So
ในสมาธิ
during
เราก็เจริญปัญ
meditation,
ญา
you can
ได้ออกมา
cultivate
ข้างนอกก็
wisdom.
รู้ได้
When you are outside, you
เพราะเรา
can
สามารถเห็น
cultivate
จิตมัน
wisdom
ไหล
as
ไป
well
คิด
because you see that the
ให้
mind
เจ
sending
ริญ
out
ส
to
ติใน
think.
ชีวิตประ
Is
จำวันนะ
that's how your cultivate
การ
mindfulness
นั่
in
งส
daily
มาธิ
life.
แล้วเราเห็นจิตไหล
So
ไป
while meditating
ที่ลม
and
หาย
you
ใจ
see
อย่างเนี้ยเรา
that
เดินปัญ
the
ญาอยู่
mind
ภายใน
flowing
เราเห็น
towards
จิตเป็น
the
อนัตตานะไหล
object
ไป
of
ได้เอง
meditation like the breath,
ออกมาข้างน
you
อกเรา
see
เห็นจิต
the
มันไหลไปคิดเอง
non-self of the mind that it flowed,
งั้นฝึก
it drift away on
ให้
its
เดิน
own.
ปัญญาต่อให้ได้นะ
You have to
แต่อย่าให้
train
เสียสมาธิ
yourself so that you can cultivate
มีสมา
wisdom,
ธิ
but
ให้
do
ดีแล้ว
not
ล่ะ
spoil the samadhi. The samadhi is very good.
เบอร์เจ็ด
Number 7,
ภาวนาในรูปแบบ
I do
คือการ
form
ดูการ
meditation
เคลื่อน
by
ไหว
observing the
ชอบนั่ง
movements.
สมาธิ
I like to do
เบาๆ
sitting
สบาย
meditations because
กลัวติด
it becomes
เลยไม่นั่ง
relaxed. But I don't
ในชีวิต
want
ประจำวัน
to get attached to it so I don't sit meditation.
รู้สึกว่าสติไม่สามารถต่อเนื่อง
I
ได้
feel that
การ
mindfulness
เคลื่อ
is
นไหว
not
ที่ทำอยู่
continuous.
ต้องไหมคะ
Can,
จงใจหาย
Luang Por
ใจ
said
รู้
that
ไหม
you have intention to observe the
รู้
breath.
ทันนะเราดู
We only
ที่
observe the body
ต้อ
as
ง
it
จงใจ
is. Do not have the strong intention exerted.
ไม่ทำได้นะ
What you practice is actually good. You can do this on and on.
เอาคนสุดท้าย
The last
พักสักหน่อย
person,
ดีไหม
should we take some break first? Okay, you can go on. Number
เบอ
8.
ร์แปด
I practice in form meditation by chanting for half an hour and then sitting meditation for half an hour, observing the body breathing, the mind becomes bright, and the know mind rises. In daily life, I like to observe the body moving. When the minds develop aversion, delusion, and greed, I know so. Sometimes I forget about myself.
จิต
the
เข้า
mind
ถึงฐานและแยกธาตุ
I'm
แย
not
ก
sure
ขันธ์
whether
ได้
my
โดยอย่าง
minds
ขาด
can
ได้
separate the aggregates
แต่เบอร์แปด
Lama said that you can do that
ชินที่
but
บังคับ
you
จิตให้นิ่ง
have
อยู่นะ
the habit to
ไม่ต้องน้อมให้มันนิ่ง
direct the minds to be
ทำสมา
still
ธิก็ทำไป
you can do meditation
เวลามันจะนิ่ง
if
มันก็
it's
นิ่ง
still
ของมันเอง
it's still on its own
อย่าพยา
you
ยาม
don't
ทำมัน
have
ให้
to
นิ่ง
control
นะ
the mind to be still
แค่
otherwise the
จะ
mind
ทื่อ
become
ๆไป
tight and stiff
มันจะแน่น
you see that the
รู้สึก
mind is a
มัน
little
จะ
bit
แน่น
tight
นะ
it's tight because you
แน่นๆ
have
เพราะมันตกใจ
strong
นะ
intention
เพราะฉะนั้นเรานั่งสมาธิ
therefore you
ก็
can
ทำไป
do
เถอะ
sitting meditation
สงบ
whether
ก็
it's
ช่าง
calm
ไม่
or
สง
not
บก็
that's
ช่างไป
fine
เถอะ
and
แล้ว
it
มั
will
นสงบ
become
เอ
on
ง
its
นั่น
own
ถึงจะดี
so that will be good you see that you're starting to controlling it again
นะ
just be aware of
ตรงนี้
this
นะตัวเนี้ยที่
this
ทำ
is
ให้
when
เสี
you
ยเวลา
waste your time
กลายเป็น
like
ว่า
you
น้อมจิต
direct the
บังคับ
mind
จิตมัน
to become
นิ่งๆ
still
อยู่เฉยๆนะทำสมา
you
ธิไป
meditate
แล้ว
whenever the mind is
อยากไป
like
ทำอะไรอะเรา
or
รู้
do no so
ตัวนี้สติอ่อนลง
now the
ไปนะ
mindfulness is a little bit
แทรก
lose its strength the delusion kicks in no so
รู้สึก
try
ตัว
to
ให้แรงขึ้นนิดนึง
increase the intensity of self-awareness
รู้ไป
no
ระดับ
like in this
นี้นะ
level
แล้วคอยดู
keep on
ไป
knowing
เรื่อย
like
ๆ
this
นะ
and
เกิด
whatever
ความเปลี่ยนแปลงอะไรขึ้นที่จิต
there
ก็
are
คอย
any
รู้ทัน
changes
ไป
within the mind also
แล้วออก
when you
จาก
get
ส
out
มา
of the
ธิ
mind
มา
try to
ให้
observe
พิ
the
จารณา
body
ร่างกายไปเลย
contemplate on the body
ผม
the nails the
ขน
hairs
เอ็นกระดูกเป็นป
the
ฏิ
flesh
กูลเป็นอสุภะ
skin
ไม่เที่ยงเป็นทุกข์เป็นอนัตตา ออกจากสมาธิมาพิจารณาตัวนี้เลยนะ
so that should be enough for today it's already 10
ของ
for you
อาจารย์
master
นะ
you
มันติด
stuck in the samadhi
ไปน้อม
you direct the mind to be
นิ่งๆ
still
เฉยๆนะคลาย
to
ออก
relax
ให้มัน
the
ทำงาน
mind so that it can work
รู้สึกร่างกาย
observe the body use the body as your object of meditation whenever you move sweeping the floors see the body working only as the mind as the knower otherwise you won't make progress it will be still and no matter how many years pass by you will be still like this because it's stuck in the stillness